Welcome to this introductory video on paper P5, the Advanced Performance Management paper. The first thing to look at when we're talking about P5 is what exactly is P5 all about. If you ask many students who are studying, they will say, what exactly is P5 all about, even when they've started studying. The reason for that is there's quite a lot of different things that are coming in P5, and it's sometimes difficult to see how they all fit together. So the main things that you need to think about as far as P5 is concerned is it is a strategic paper. I know that this sounds obvious listening to this video, watching this video, but this is one of the final exams that you ever have to do for ACCA, which is the good news. The bad news is it means it's obviously going to be quite hard. It's going to test your ability. And with P5, as I say, it is a strategic paper. It's allowing you or testing, do you understand what things actually mean? Now, there is a big overlap between P3 and P5. There always has been. Those of you that have already done the P3 exam, which will be most of you, but maybe not all of you, those of you who have done the P3 exam will know that in the P3 exam, the examiner will say, here are some numbers, a profit and loss account. I'm afraid I'm old-fashioned, I still call it that. So a P&L account or some non-financial information, or there will be some numbers in there. And the examiner, in effect, will say, what do they mean? Now, the P5 examiner may well do the same thing and may well say, here are some numbers, but probably they will be more detailed than they would have been in P3. In P3, they tend to be an overall summary of the company. In P5, they might be about very specific areas of the company, such as customer retention. The other thing that you often have to do in P5 is to actually calculate the numbers. So again, in P3, there is the P&L. In P5, please calculate the P&L. So you actually have to work out what the P&L is before you can actually do something about it. So not only will you have to calculate the figures, but also you'll have to interpret them. So what exactly does it mean? This number has gone up, this number has gone down, this number is higher than somebody else's, this number is lower than somebody else's. What exactly does it all mean? There is a lot of thinking in this particular paper. How can numbers aid the running of a business? This is one of the most important parts of P5. Imagine that you are a manager sitting in head office for an organisation, and your organisation is based all around the country. It could even be based all around the world. Your company may be made up of lots of little divisions, each doing different things. So you have one division which is involved in one industry and another division involved in a different industry. You are sitting in your office. How do you know who's doing well? How do you know who's getting better? How do you know who's getting worse? Well, one answer would be to go and visit everybody, but that's not really very practical. So almost certainly what you will do is you will collect numbers, you'll collect data, you'll collect figures from each part of your organisation, and those numbers will tell you whether you're doing well or not. So one of the skills that P5 is going to test is when you are looking at these numbers, do you understand what they mean? Can you interpret who is doing well and who isn't? The other thing that P5 tests is, are there other numbers that would be useful for you to have? So you have a spreadsheet and it's got some figures on it for each division. But are there other figures that you would like them to collect? So if each division collects numbers on, for example, customer retention, would it be useful to calculate and collect numbers for customer satisfaction? So P5 often says, what else would you need? You've got some figures, what do they mean, but what other numbers do you want? And the final thing you can see there, calculating figures to support decision making. One of the big things we have to do if we're looking at strategy is to decide what to do next. And numbers will help us to do that. We will have to calculate things such as net present values. We will have to calculate things like return on investment. So we will need those in order to say that's a good idea and that one isn't. So those are the main areas that we cover in the P5 exam. Now P5 has 6 specific syllabus areas at the moment for December 2010. Now that is going to change in 2011, but obviously we don't need to worry about 2011 just yet because you're doing The 6 areas that we have I will discuss in more detail when we do the past paper analysis. The 6 headings are strategic planning and control, economic factors, obviously looking at the outside world, performance systems and design, and strategic performance measurement. And the final 2, performance evaluation and current developments. Now, one of the things to bear in mind in P5 is that although those are the syllabus headings, sometimes it's quite difficult to work out which bit of the syllabus is actually being tested. Some questions can fall into 2 or 3 of those. So how exactly are you going to be examined in P5? Well, the exam format is pretty much the same. As far as time is concerned, it's exactly the same as all of the other written papers. It is a 3-hour written exam with 15 minutes worth of reading time.